It was a busy weekend coming in from a busy week, and we get into things this morning. So we will talk. And yes, we did have a bit of a technical hitch, but glory, because the live stream is back up. So we don't have we should be okay. Monday mornings can be quite the thing coming off the weekend. So apologies for that, but that has definitely been sorted out. So then if you're on the live stream, that's where you're listening in. If you're on KTN, Karibu Sana to you as you get into the room with us. If you're listening across radio, indeed around the country, the region and the world, this is the Situation Room. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. Indu and Dennis with you today as we get into it. We start off with a political conversation this morning, and just to then be able to read, you know how they say read the room. In this case now, we're reading the country, and both our guests are seated this morning, getting into it. So Karibuni Sana as we get into that conversation. Nominated Senator Veronica Minor is here with us this morning. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Very much for having me this morning.
Thank you for being here
And
this morning.
belated Happy Mother's Day. I don't know, maybe, I hope I'm right to say.
You
belated
are.
Happy Mother's
Thank you,
Day.
and to you too.
Thank you.
See? Here we are teetering on assumptions, but they're good ones. Karibu Sana.
Not far from the truth.
Not
so
far
we are
from the
good.
truth, so it's good. Indeed. Wakili Edward Muriu is the MP for Gatanga constituency, also here with us this morning. Good morning, Wakili.
Good morning, all, and thanks for inviting us.
Thank you for being here this morning, Karibu
I
Sana.
think this year we have not
We've not met this year.
interacted.
Yes.
We did last year, but you're happy to be back.
Very glad that you could honor the invitation to do this, have this conversation with us today. We're going to be looking into Game Plan 2027. Of course, from the nominations, it meant a thing. But before we get into that, Dennis takes us to down south somewhere.
Yes, today we are in Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, the last absolute monarchy in the continent. King Swati III currently exists as the king and holds both the governance and legislative powers in the country. We talk about the country having, in terms of records in HIV, the numbers are highest in the world, but progress has gone into ensuring that that is being handled. But in terms of culture, it is also the only country that has the most beautiful culture in the continent. But let's go to the proverb. A king is a king through the people. A king is a king through the people. Ladies, go first. How would you interpret it?
I think I would agree with that. A king is a king through the people. So whether it's a monarchy or a democracy or even a one-party state, a king cannot be a king without the people, because it's the people who enthrone you as a king. In our system, for instance, you come in through the vote, and you come in through a majority of the vote to become the president and the leader of government.
Yeah.
So there is no other way you can be a king without the people. And even if you look at the monarchy in UK, in England, you look at monarchies in other places, even just right next door here in Uganda, you cannot be a king without the people. It is the people who crown you to be a king.
Right.
And that's why it becomes dangerous when you see a king who declares themselves a king. It shouldn't be.
It is
You
the
should be
people who
declared
do
by
that.
people.
By
It's
the
the
people.
people who should call you the king. It's not you who should say, I'm your king.
Yeah.
It's the people who should proudly say, this is our king.
Okay.
For the Swatini, the culture, maybe, I'm not too sure which culture you support, because you say it's beautiful. And I know what happens there with the parading of the beauties, parading of women. And sometimes I see, sometimes they're topless. I'm not too sure of that culture myself. Actually, I'm not sure of that culture, whether it should be happening or not happening. They need to explain to me why they do it.
That could be a
and how they
3-hour
do it.
conversation, Senator.
Yes, you should call us someday for that.
Yeah.
Wakili, how would you interpret it?
I think that metaphor aligns very well with our Constitution, Article 1, that the power is donated by the people to the king. And the king means leadership, basically, in large extent. And therefore, a king lives at the grace of the people. And the fundamental of it is it's a trust. You are given, people entrust you to guide and lead them. And therefore, it aligns very well with our Constitution, it's particularly Article 1. And Yeah, coming to Swatini, of course, depends on which side of the bench you're sitting on. Some would say they have got a beautiful culture. Others, they see it from a nudity perspective. And others make a statement like when they see that nudity, they feel like a mosquito in a nudist colony. You know, so it depends on where it comes from. But going to the point, I think the sense that a king can only be a king if he has the people. That aligns very well, and that's why a king need always be very careful to listen to the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
On what the people want, not what you want. What the people want.
Well said, well interpreted.
Indeed. So July 16th, there's a by-election that will take place in Ol Kalou. This happened as a result of the unfortunate demise of the Member of Parliament. And we, of course, saw that earlier. Sadly, this meant that with that loss, that there needed to be somebody that comes in. So July is the date. But nominations were taking place over this last week and then ended in, a lot of then predictions or, assumptions of what then might happen. It's no secret to many that a by-election usually is kind of like what they've called the litmus test or the acid test for what may happen later. Let's start off with what thoughts were around and what it actually points to. Or is it just another by-election and that nobody need be worried about anything, or nobody then should rest on their laurels because of the results of this election? We'll start with you, Wakili.
Thank you.
I mean, both of you are Wakili, but okay. Let's see. We'll start with you, Wakili from Gatanga.
Thank you. Ol Kalou will be a determiner of many things. And the realignment of Mount Kenya politics. And as you saw, both on Friday and Saturday, that gives you an indication where this country is heading to, in particular the Mount Kenya region. And going slightly back, during the funeral of my brother, David Keraho, and may God rest his soul in eternal peace, the party leader of the DCP party, when he was given an opportunity to eulogize Honorable David the late, he said a number of things in terms of the fact that his impeachment as a deputy president made a systematic, it will make a seismic change or difference to the Mount Kenya politics. And the reason is very simple. The Mount Kenya people have got an interesting psyche, and which is very different from other people. They hate betrayal.
Okay.
Number two, they are not noisy, they don't throw stones, they don't demonstrate, but they just wait for the day. If you saw what happened on Friday, the UDA party, the ruling party, was only able to push less than 8,000 voters to go and vote for their candidate. That is after all the standard cabinet secretaries, governors, MPs, secretary generals of the party, going there and spilling money like water. They were only able to get less than 8,000. The following day, over 24,000 voters came out organically, without any coercion, without any intimidation, without being told come out, and they voted for their what can call preferred candidate. Now, we normally say numbers don't lie, and if the winner on the UDA got about like I think maybe I think 1,000 something, and the other one
it wasn't 1,000.
was able to garner over 8,000. That tells you, and basically what you're saying, long and short. And I maybe my colleague here who is on the side of UDA party, if I were them, I would just save my time and money, save their breath. The die is cast. The mountain is gone. And that's just the beginning. Just that's the beginning. I know I was in Bere last year. And of course, money was being poured by quarter. But we are also telling, and I think Okarao is telling the leadership that all Kalau is not Mbere. They may spend money, but that money will be bastardized, it will be eaten, and people will vote for the DCP party. And the DCP party, and for the ones who are able to see, is the party which will eventually take over the mountain. Finally, and this is very important. One of the strategies of the UDA party, and maybe for your information, I was, as much as Veronica was the Secretary General of UDA party, I am still, and she was removed, I am still the Secretary in charge of Legal Affairs at UDA party.
I thought you were about to offer an invite for her to join you.
Right?
Okay.
And you can read what's happening, very simple. The strategy of UDA party is to bring in some new parties. And those parties, we know them. And the moment they go out to break the resolution or to come in, try to pretend that they're in the opposition, we know who is their sponsor, and we shall put them the labels. Yellow, wheelbarrow, pink, wheelbarrow, blue, wheelbarrow, and we are waiting for them. Why? It's because the current members of parliament and elected, they are not going to get a chance to be voted. And therefore, their patron up there will give them some few wheelbarrows to come and try to get votes. And we are ready for them. Yes.
Senator, the by-election that happened in Mbere and Malava as well was touted as a game changer at the time. It was said that that was to show Kenyans where exactly 2027 elections would look like. And with that, it was said that UDA would not win Mbere, and neither would it win Malava. But the story is different today. As we hear as well a conversation that All Kalau will be the game changer ahead of 2027. Where does that sit with the UDA? Because UDA as well saying we are here to win this, and we're here to make sure that we retain that seat because it was a UDA seat.
Let me say this. First of all, we still had this kind of excitement which I'm hearing from my colleague when we went for the by-elections in Bere, North and Malava and different other constituencies. Yes. And what happened was a real showdown to the DCP, which I must commend.
A bit
for
of correction. DCP did not have a candidate. I think it's important that we clarify.
But they had the United Opposition
DCP
candidate.
did not have a candidate.
They aligned
in
with
Bere.
certain candidates in Bere.
Okay.
They agreed on a candidate from DP. Initially, that candidate was not even in DP, but they agreed because the seat was originally held by a DP member of parliament.
So for purposes of clarification, DCP threw their support behind the DP.
Their united, what they are now calling united opposition.
All right.
They agreed on a candidate in Bere. And I would hope at least they can be honest enough to own up that they even went to campaign, and we even saw their party leader moving from house to house, even helping to make tea. He did a number of things in Bere which showed that he supported that candidate.
Okay.
Now, that was then their candidate. And in fact, my colleague and my brother here has confessed he went to Bere. Why was he in Bere if then it was not their candidate? So I don't think that's a point of contention. It was their candidate, their joint candidate. And together with their joint candidate, they were shown dust by UDA. It is never too good to dance before the drum beat. It's always good to wait for the drumbeat to beat. But I must commend them for the gift of gab and the gift of speech, the gift of speaking, and it's usually easier for opposition. When people are aligned to opposition, it's always easier to say, Mombasa Road now has a pothole. And it's easier for them to condemn, to show mistakes, to show gaps, because that is the work of an opposition, to check the government. However, just like it happened in Malava and in Bere, we now have an excitement building around, a storm gathering around. It's a storm in a teacup, gathering around the numbers that turned out to do the nominations, the party primaries, both in comparing both UDA, how UDA performed in terms of numbers, and the DCP. But I want to say this. If you notice, the UDA party primaries were done on a Friday. The community you are dealing with in Olkalau, you must understand the context within which these voters are coming out. This is a very hardworking community within Olkalau. They do agriculture farming, and most of them are in farms. When you pick a weekday to do an event like that, the numbers are affected. The best day to do party primaries, from a perspective of secretariat and from a perspective of my role as former SG, is usually a weekend, a Saturday, because
Saturday.
You get to receive more people, because can you imagine the teachers who are in school, the doctors who are in hospitals, they might not actually come out on Friday, they'll come out on a Saturday.
Okay.
So they had the added advantage of doing it on a Saturday. And then the UDA initially had slotted the party primaries to be done on Saturday. But IEBC ideally will not allow two political parties to do a party primaries on the same day.
Okay.
So when I was heading the UDA secretariat, the IEBC would guide each of us to pick a date that is away from the other parties to avoid conflicts, because they are the same classrooms that you'll be used, or the same stations that you'll be used, polling stations. So to avoid a fight and a showdown between the two political parties, they will guide one party to pick a day before, the other on the following day.
But in this case, they were both on the same day.
No.
Okay.
One UDA was on Friday.
Yes.
Which was a disadvantage because of the weekday.
Yeah.
And then they had theirs on a Saturday.
So that would
is
explain
a better day. That by itself.
I just want to understand, just for purpose of clarification, because one would say, if you're saying that people are working the whatever, then one would ask, then how come they showed up for the DCP? But what you're saying is that
that's the one I was explaining.
What you're saying is that so now DCP, they were able to show up because it was a Saturday.
There was a Saturday.
Okay.
So even the teacher who was in school on Friday
would come out.
Will be able to come out and vote on a Saturday.
Okay.
And normally you'll find, even when you take a Saturday, you can even have the SDA complaining, why are you picking a Saturday?
Okay.
Because that's when we go to church. In other words, what I'm saying, the excitement that has been there within DCP because of the turnout can then be short-lived, very short-lived, because the game is not yet over. It's just begun.
Okay.
And let me also say this. The person who goes to vote in a party primary, for you to know that it's done properly, a nomination is done properly, you must look at who are they allowing to vote. Because imagine if they don't have a party register, they are using the IBC register, and anyone can walk into any station and can vote in this station and vote in the other station. So the success of that party primary, though the numbers may be shouldered up, would only be tested and checked and verified if you confirm that every person who walked into each station voted only once and they did not go to a neighboring polling station, until they show the process that they have gone through and show that the process was so short that you could not walk into another station. That's when you can dance about the numbers. Because it could as well be that you have gone and voted in 3 stations, 1 person. So the numbers are counting. As you go to the next station, it counts another additional person. So
an IEBC would not have a control over this?
No, they don't have control.
Yes, Senator.
Party primaries are done by the parties themselves.
Yes, Senator, because
it's a secretariat that runs. In other words, I'm saying, though the numbers may be appearing to show like DCP had a heavier turnout, based on the Saturday, based on what process they used to show whether that a single voter did not vote 3 times or 4 times, or did not have 3 ballots or 2 ballots, then you would then come and boast about the numbers. But when the real game begins, and it's the IEBC now checking and making sure that your finger has been inked after you vote.
Yes.
That's when you tell the true test of who is more popular than the other.
I think allow me to correct. Allow me to correct something. I hear a lot of.
You'll get a chance. Let me finish.
Let's just finish that point, then we'll come to you, Wakili.
And I'm saying this. If you look at the former member of parliament who passed on, he was Jubilee Party, but aligned to UDA. So that seat was ideally not held by UDA. Okay? It was not held by UDA, but he was aligned to the UDA. And I would say this, the candidates who are now flying the flag of both the UDA and the DCP have been in the field before. One of them held the second position in 2022. So let me tell you something. Wait for the game. It is not yet over. It has just begun.
Yeah. Wakili, as you respond, I just want to ask this question. The senator has raised something very critical when it comes to nomination processes, because this is done by the party. And one asked the question, who voted for the DCP member?
Exactly.
Because one asked the question, is there party register for DCP members in all Kalau? And is there evidence to show that everyone who voted is actually a DCP member?
Thank you. First and foremost, I think it's important that I do a rebuttal of what my colleague is trying to allude. There is excitement. There's no excitement. Is the reality sinking in? And my colleague, having worked on a party, she knows very clearly it is not about even the people who come out. It's the spirit on the ground. Because as a politician, you can be able to sense what is happening on the ground. We are talking about a party which they call itself ruling party. They came with loads of money as usual, and it's in the media. They were trying to bribe people to go and vote. In fact, the question which you ask him, you need to ask him whether the people they are bribing to go and vote for their candidate, and they refused, whether those people were members of UDA party.
I'm sorry, it looks like it might be an hour of clarifications here. What we're saying, or according to what you're saying, Wakili, is that UDA, from your assertions, were bribing members of the Kalau community to come out and vote towards the nomination of their candidate?
Absolutely.
And how do you know this?
It is the media. It's the social media. Oh, yes. It is all over there.
What is there? Is a video? Is there somebody saying something?
Yes. And I even want to show me, I'll show you. There are videos all over. The team of UDA, from the Secretary General, the governors, the cabinet secretaries, were all there on Friday with loads of money.
So the thing about
let me give you the mood on the ground.
Maybe I can ask a question that would then help.
Let me give the mood on the ground.
Allow me to ask a question that perhaps then would help with the mood. So, regardless of what the situation would be, every party needs the nominated candidate to appear.
Yeah.
You require this to happen. So it's not whether if you want to be in the running, you have to present your own candidate. This is actually not the battle yet. The battle comes in on the 16th of July, but you must present a worthy candidate. Of what benefit and to whom would it be if UDA was bribing members of the community to come and nominate their own candidate?
The answer is, as my colleague has said, the turnout of UDA members, despite the fact that they were bribed.
Is there a threshold that needs to be met?
Let me explain. Give me a bit.
Okay.
I'm answering a question. I'm answering a question.
Okay.
You see, remember, and I think I said from the word go, UDA is a ruling party. It has all the political machinery and all the money in their disposal. All right? And therefore, it would be a shame for them not to be seen to be pulling the crowds to come and nominate their preferred candidates.
Okay.
So nominations are normally the curtain raiser before the main show.
Okay.
And what comes out at the inception gives you an indication of the outcome.
Okay.
So what you're saying long and short is this: if it's about less than 8,000 people who came out to vote, the preferred candidate for UDA, despite pouring money, bringing unga and all that and all that in Olkarau, against over 24,000 organic, self-motivated people who came to vote their own candidate. That tells you the enthusiasm and the acceptance of the party.
So it's an optics.
All right?
The optics matter here.
And I said initially, numbers don't lie.
Okay.
And since this being a curtain raiser is about a contest on which party, with only two parties,
yes,
which party is able to mobilize the biggest number for nominations.
Okay.
Because that has a direct impact on what will happen at the general election.
Can I just ask one more question? Because, this is a place where we can understand. Dennis is a member of the Peabody Party, whatever that may be. He cannot come to Olkalau and vote for the nomination of somebody in DCP, isn't it?
Yes.
He cannot, because he doesn't belong to that party. Am I correct? Or am I off here? It must be DCP members voting for the nomination of a DCP candidate. It must be UDA registered members voting for the nomination of a UDA candidate, right? Okay. I just needed to get that clarification.
Now.
Okay. Dennis? Sorry.
Yeah, because then my question still goes to Akili, my previous question. How sure are we that those who voted on Friday did not vote on Saturday?
Let me say this, and I maybe he will answer about UDA. I want about DCP because I'm not a member of UDA anymore.
Okay.
You are a member of
the body
UDA,
is there,
technically
but the spirit is
She's
gone.
claiming you.
You are a member of UDA. He is an MP.
Let me finish.
On UDA ticket to Gatanga constituency. Let's get that clear.
All right.
But he has started to align with DCP. In fact, if UDA was strict,
Yeah.
let
Let him respond.
things would happen.
Yeah. because Wakili, on Friday, one would, if there was that ink, then one would not be able to vote on Saturday. So one asked the question, using the DCP list of members that belong to DCP, how sure are we that those who did not vote on Friday voted?
As far as I'm concerned, and I said I would like to talk on behalf of DCP parties.
Yes.
Because as far as we are concerned, UDA in the mountain is dead as a dodo. Us as DCP, we have a list of our members. And our members came in big numbers and they voted for their candidate. Now, and that's where I said initially, when you bring all the honchos in UDA party, from governors to Secretary General to CSs with loads of money, telling people I'll give you 500 if you go and vote. Those people, in fact, the question you need to address, Veronica, is are those people members of UDA party? But that's beside the point. I would say this. The UDA party has the DNA of the UDA party is that they can use money to achieve anything. But they can do that once, but they cannot do that always. They spend 700 million in Bere. 700 million in Bere.
Can you allow me to respond?
Yeah.
Just a minute. Just a minute.
Bero,
Yeah.
why in a hurry?
Let me-
700 million. I'll tell you, they'll spend even a billion shillings.
narrations.
They even spend
Which have
they'll
no-
even spend a billion. But people of all Kalau are waiting for it.
Is there
They come, take the money, and vote for the DCP candidate. And why is that? The ground has resonated and agreed that any transaction, any engagement with UDA party on the ground is transactional. If you want to meet us, pay us 1,000. If you want us to clap for you, pay us another 1,000. If you want us to smile, give us another 1,000. If you want adulation, give another 1,000. Therefore, the engagement of the people of Kalau and the entire mountain with UDA party is transactional. My colleague here, Veronica, the last time she was on the ground, she was not gone there to just wave the people. She was taking goodies because she cannot get an opportunity to talk to the people if she has no money to give them. That is what's happening.
Okay.
And me, I'm on the ground.
All right.
For me, I walk around. But Veronica and her colleagues in UDA party, they cannot leave Nairobi.
Okay.
They cannot leave Nairobi to go and meet the people without goodies. The last time Veronica was on the ground was in Kangari.
Well, she's here. So
Yes, she's just here.
Okay, so
She was in Kangari.
Ask
Ask her.
for myself.
Just
She
hang on a
went
minute.
there
All right.
to take the money.
So, allow me to
my-
ask the
my-
question
my-
based on what you've said. There's certain assertions that you've made here. And like I said, she's here. So let's ask that question because it's important. And allow me to then lay the foundation for the question in this manner. That we know that in politics, optics matter. They matter a huge deal. Do these numbers matter? Because you've already given reasons as to why the numbers may have been on the lower side for the nomination of this individual. Does it tweak you in any way, hearing what he's saying, that the possibility of money having been spent and still that may not have resulted in the high numbers that you would have liked?
Let me say this. Maybe my colleague doesn't understand what nomination process is all about.
You want to teach me?
Parties, let me just explain my understanding of nomination. You've
What is
given
what
your
I don't know.
understanding.
No,
Let me give my understanding of nominations, having dealt with several political parties and successfully conducted nominations across 47 counties. I come from a standpoint of understanding the processes behind the scene. First of all, nominations within a political party are internal. You can even use a delegate system where you even have just 10 people coming from each ward to determine who will fly the flag for the party in that specific electoral area. So number one, numbers may not even matter internally at the point of party primaries.
is there a threshold?
The parties, there isn't actually,
Okay.
because the party, even in our rules, in UDA nomination, under UDA nomination rules, you can actually give a direct ticket to a candidate without going through the party nominations. Especially if you're in an area where you think parties and candidates can actually agree on a single candidate, a consensus building, just the way the United Opposition did a consensus candidate in Bere. So first of all, the people who are interested in pushing the number of votes to their favor is the candidates themselves. It's not the party. If the party comes in with any inducement towards one candidate, it becomes a bias process which goes against the nomination rules for every single political party. So what we are hearing in the studio today, the allegation that UDA used money to get the people out to come and turn out for the party primaries cannot be further from the truth.
Didn't happen?
It cannot happen, because if it happens like that, then it means UDA is maybe favoring candidate A against candidate B. Because if you're bringing out the turnout, if you're encouraging turnout and it's not the main by-election, what then are you saying to the person you're sending, the voter you are sending? Are you sending the voter to vote in for candidate 1 or candidate number 10? Because there were 10. No. Let me just explain. You have spoken. I kept quiet. Let me finish. So it is not in the interest of any political party, leave alone UDA, to come out with tons of money. And let me say this, even if political parties could use money, and all of them sometimes do use money towards the end, and a question that we all need to discuss as Kenyans, even if they can use money in campaign financing, that money is not just thrown to no avail, or to no purpose, or to no result. What ideally happens is the party leaves the candidates to campaign for themselves, get their voters out, and bring out the voters to vote for them in the nomination process to build their vote number. So I would not understand why my colleague would say that UDA, because he actually accused UDA, that's why I'm responding to it, that UDA came out with tons of money. It is a tagline they have been given within the party that the only way to fight UDA is to accuse UDA of using public resources or using whatever resources they are using to build their own politics. But even if you want to use that tagline to build your image, because you're not able to build by itself, you can build your own image as DCP or as UDA without having to refer to other people or to other parties. They are using it as a sort of a stereotype to influence the thinking of Kenyans, to think that government is doing this, is using resources to build politics for its 2027. And that's the tagline.
And it's not.
There was no need. You've asked him a good question. What is the purpose of the political party taking money on Friday for the party primaries? And whom would they be supporting within the 10 candidates? If you take out money, you only mobilize towards a candidate, because that was mobilization towards a candidate winning a ticket.
Okay.
So there was no need. He has not laid any foundation as to why the party would have been interested in mobilizing towards the voter turnout. And again, voter turnout, the number of votes we get in party primaries in Olkalou, it doesn't matter. The idea is who gets the maximum number of votes. Even if it's 10 votes, who got 7? And who got 2? And who got 1? If there were 100, who got 60? And who got 20. That's all you need to check at that level, because you only need to test the popularity of the candidate, and you pick the most popular candidate among the specimen of votes that come to be cast in the ballot. So it was not needful. But what I believe the DCP did, they read the script on Friday, because they are very anxious and very agitated towards building a perception that they are more popular. They have taken the mountain block of votes. So what they did is they saw what happened on Friday to the UDA. They looked at the numbers that were there. They shouldered up people without even showing to the public that the register we have used here in DCP is actually our members who are voting within DCP. The advantage UDA has as against DCP on Olkalou is that UDA has already built its membership register as at now.
And how do you know that DCP has not? How do you know that DCP has not?
I think it is still work under construction.
Okay,
it's
so we don't know. So we don't know that yet.
Because I have been an SG, and I know how much time and how much effort it takes for any party to build a register. Not just DCP, even any other new political party. We took a bit of time at UDA when we started the UDA, I believe in December 2019. We took quite a bit of time, about 1.5 to 2 years, to build our register for members, to be able to say now we have a members register that can take the candidates to the party primaries. So what I'm saying is this: if you want to allege that money was used, you wait for the by-election itself. Maybe that's when money would be used by anybody to the cause of I want the voters to come. But to allege, I'm not even saying to be used, but maybe then you can allege and people would believe you. But to allege money has been used now, why would anyone want to waste money to that respect?
Certainly
and
not.
Then the allegation that in Bere 700 million was used, how far could that be from the truth?
Was it more?
There is no proof. There is no proof. There is nothing like that. I mean, in fact, disputing that fact. And you must allow in studios now, when people allege specific facts, to support them with documents and to support them with exhibits to show, we know money moved from this bank, we know money moved from this corner, and that money landed in Bere, and we know it was 700 million. I think that's just an alarmist statement.
My colleague has
a very serious alarmist statement.
I think you're putting in a very awkward position. She's in a very awkward position because she's trying to defend the undefendable.
You want us to believe the unbelievable?
And the fact that...
I do want us to believe the unbelievable.
The fact that
because
they spend money...
To even pick 700 million as a figure, that's specific. Those are accounting.
Allow me to say my part.
You should even give... by the way, I was still on my feet when you came in, before being asked to come in. It's still I still have the mic.
Allow me.
I still have the mic, by the way.
This is not a shouting match. We are talking to the national studio. And I think it's very important that we also respect each other. I don't think
there's anyone shouting.
Now, what I'm trying to say long and short, it is very, very difficult to defend the devil.
And is it?
It's difficult to defend the devil.
How so?
Because what
Where is the devil coming
what
in?
the,
Or they
what
have
the
a devil
devil
in their
what the
corner?
devil does
Do
outside
they
there.
have a devil in their corner?
Go with your
the-
point,
when
please,
the devil
Wakili.
does is there for everybody to see. And you cannot say what has been done by the devil is the right thing. No, when my colleagues comes and says, a rural community was not able to come because they are teachers who are working. They could not have come.
Do you
They
know
could not have
Fridays
left.
are working,
They could not
though?
have
He
left their
doesn't
work.
know that.
I just want to tell the Kenyan people,
They move from
All
such
Kalau-
point of ignorance.
All Kalau is a rural setup. People work when they want to work, and they rest when they want to rest. Now, in particular, when money has been poured to give the turnout that UDA
We have
is
proof of the
popular,
money.
they will quickly leave their cows, they will quickly leave their farms, and go and receive the money. In fact, they did exactly that. What they did not do is to go to the polling station. Why? Because there is a narrative in All Kalau that anybody who goes to support UDA party is a traitor of the cause.
I want to get a clarification on something here, and I'd love to get it from you. So these nominations, I repeat, are within the boundaries of parties. So you have any party doesn't have any business with another party when it comes to the nomination. During the by-election, then one would then be the actual election, then one would be able to say it matters who shows up or who doesn't. You could have a direct nomination by a party, so that's where we say there's even no threshold that needs to be met, except for the fact that Ndu and Dennis pit against one another within the party and then somebody's selected. So external business really has nothing to do with an internal process of nomination. My question is, only registered members
Should vote.
can vote within a nomination process. Of what benefit? I mean, and of course, if money was spent, of what benefit would it be to spend money on a process that is internal? It doesn't matter.
I'll answer you.
It doesn't matter what anybody else says or does. Further to that, the IEBC is not even involved in tallying of numbers towards the nomination process. Why would I spend money for a process where I can still dictate the outcome?
I'll tell you.
Exactly.
The reason is this. UDA party is a ruling party. And they want to prove to the world they're still very popular. So the more people who turn out to vote for the preferred candidate.
Registered people.
Yes.
Okay.
Registered
This is a
people.
pre-process.
Yes,
They
yes.
must have registered before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So the turnout of those registered members will give an indication of the outcome of the election.
Okay.
Remember, politics is emotional. It's about attachment. It's about feeling associated. It's very, very emotional. And therefore, for me to leave my business to go and do nomination with a by-election coming, it requires a lot of conviction. And that's where you start reading the mood on the ground. In fact, the likes of my colleague here, they must refund back Ruto's money for throwing money, and there was no turnout. They have a very serious issue. Number two.
That's, of course, going with the assumption that money was poured.
Money was spent, yeah.
It's
It is
assumption
there.
which is not there. There's no purpose
It
for
is
that
there.
money
It
to
is
be
there.
poured.
And let me tell you, if there is people who like showing off, PR is the UDA party. They will launch one project after another, the one project 10 times. Why? Just to show that they are popular now. And that is their psyche. As opposed to DCP party, where people come out without being coerced by anybody, without any promise for anything, but just to come and liberate their country. That's they're too much different. And I said the psyche of UDA party to spend money. And I said today, and my colleague, I want him to prove me wrong. The last engagement he had with the people of Moranga, she had taken money to Kangari. There she refused. There she goes empty-handed. In fact, for you to be able to vote, I'm saying, ask her which party is going to vie for. She will not tell you she don't vie with the UDA party. Because she knows UDA party in the mountain has no chance. In fact, I want her even to declare when your boss is listening. Your boss is listening. I want UDA party
before you finish.
If you make a mistake, then they know very well that if you vie with UDA
Kenyans
party,
have become smart.
if you become UDA party, you have no chance. And therefore, matters or kalau. The die is cast.
I mean, Senator,
yes, thank you for the opportunity.
He's given assertions that you would not vie in UDA because the
I will vie in UDA. I have already stated,
yes.
And I'm on SpiceFM.
So one asks the question. So another question would be that the party nomination exercise is scientific. It's based off numbers. And even when you're giving direct ticket, it's because the party has certain sin between the candidates who are there, who is the stronger one, for them to be given
you want to look at the
ticket. So here then one asks the question, why would one spend money in this exercise if at all you're selecting someone who would then be presented to the people at the final end to be elected by the people, who some are registered members, some are not, but it's the people of the constituency.
And that is what I want to dissuade. That notion is what I want to dissuade this morning as a practitioner in party governance. If you want to look at the strength of the party, you look at the number of candidates who have approached that party for the ticket. How the party determines who gets the ticket is the business of the party. It's an internal business. They had 9 candidates. UDA had 10 candidates. Is that a draw? Not a draw.
Okay.
That's almost a draw like almost at par. DCP and UDA each had the right to determine who becomes the flag bearer. The only budget and expense used by the party at nomination level is a logistics budget. Logistics budget to get the ballots, logistics budget to get the officials who will conduct that, logistics budget to get security for the events, logistic budgets to make sure that the day runs from, say, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. until the determination of the counting of the ballots that are cast. That is the only budget approved in a political party. My brother here is a legal secretary of the UDA. The last position he held. The last position he held.
Okay.
Let him declare to Kenyans today which day when he was in UDA NEC, he walked before party primaries to bribe people to come out and vote. If he's honest, and I know he's a lawyer, he's honest, there will be no day when myself as a Secretary General, I give a budget for people to be paid to turn up to vote. Let me tell you something. The excitement you're seeing for the turnout by DCP members is a very short-lived experience. The true test is when IBC will walk in now as an independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to determine the candidate of DCP and the candidate of UDA and the candidate of Jubilee, because even Jubilee is going to have a candidate. It is the day when IBC on 14th of July, isn't it? 16th of July, when they will come and now tally the vote for each party. Indeed, they can continue dancing on the streets for the time being. We allow them to do that. But let them prepare themselves for the real duel because it is coming. And this is the first time, by the way, in all the conversations I have undertaken in a studio, when we have discussed excitement in the in the voter turnout in a party primary. You don't discuss it at this point. How the party picks, nobody cares, actually.
You know,
you could even have a delegate. Let me finish. You could actually have, and I repeat once again, you could actually pick the 10 candidates, sit them in a boardroom, make them go round through a consensus, agree to the strongest candidate, or even do a poll. A poll where you actually ask Kenyans in Olkalau, who do you think is the most popular among the 10? Conduct 3 polls, compare the results of the 3 polls without going to vote for party primaries and come out with the strongest candidates and convince the others maybe to support the strongest candidate or to make a decision on what they want based on the resources the party has available. And that's why in 2022, we were trying to ask IEBC to reconsider its rules on how they can support political parties, because most of the political parties actually do not have the capacity to conduct very free and fair nominations without being supported by IEBC, because some of the political parties cannot even afford the ballot boxes, cannot even afford the ballot paper, cannot even afford the workforce. So we were trying to push IEBC to help parties to democratize at that low level, so that when you move up with the candidates, you have used democracy all through from the grassroots right up to the top. But for a party now to dance when just after party primaries, it's a very unusual behavior, but it's okay, it can happen because things change and political landscape changes. And of course, based on the context we are in right now, they're allowed to dance and enjoy themselves for a moment, but come tomorrow, let them prepare to go to Olkalau, because the same people they are saying could not turn up to vote in our party primaries, they will be surprised.
And
finally, about the choice of the date, I repeat once again, even for purposes of other political parties, when you pick a weekday is when even the schools are being used by the children. So even the activity that will be allowed within those schools will be very controlled and very managed, because you don't want to disrupt the classes, isn't it? You don't want to disrupt the classes. So there are certain factors that usually determine how the voter turnout becomes, especially on the choice of dates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hear from you,
I think we have
Muriu.
said enough in terms of excitement and in terms of the dates when the nominations were done and the reasons why. But if we go by the line of excitement, I think UDA comes out very excited. Do you know the Deputy President of this republic, even before the late David Karaho was buried, he went to those sides of the Raqqa and start saying how they will deal with DCP. That's the way they did it in Bere, before even the late Kara was buried. So if you talk about excitement, that supersedes everything else, because in our tradition, we don't talk about inheritance to a person before he's even buried. It was out of order. It was in bad taste. And despite the fact that we're in politics, talking about how they will thrash DCP in Olkalau to teach the same lesson they did in Bere, even before Honorable David was buried, was in bad taste. So if we are saying there's excitement, the excitement is on the part of the UDA party. And since we are just concluding, I think we are just representatives of the people, and we listen to what the people are saying. And I think the party leader, DCP party, during the funeral of the late Honorable Keraho, before the president, he said it the way it is, that he may have been removed through bribery of these members of parliament, which my good friend here, Veronica, voted to kick him out. He may have bribed them to kick Gachagua out, but he cannot kick out the people from the DCP and the Gachagua's party.
Okay.
And regarding barriers,
our time, I'm sorry, Senator, but we have actually overshot the time.
We should avoid campaigning and politicking over dancing on
the grave.
I think so. I think that goes. That lands.
I think we need to change that culture
squarely. I think that lands squarely on the feet of very, very many politicians across board. Unfortunately,
I don't like it. I didn't like what happened in Olkalau.
Yeah.
The showdown is unnecessary when we have a family that is bereaved, and I empathize.
We shouldn't actually have this kind of behavior
with the family. That behavior should never be condoned
by anybody.
If you want to do your politics, call us on a public rally. Don't use use the budget of members of family who are burying
What
their
about
loved
inheriting?
ones. And
All
their
right,
deceased
I think
ones.
that now comes at the end of this conversation this morning, and I just want to say thank you, both of you, for joining us in this conversation today. Senator Veronica Maina, nominated senator, and Wakili Edward Muriu, MP, Gatanga constituency. Asante sana, both of you, being here this morning. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.